FXBros.
What's up, people? We're back on Sunday Live. Gonna quickly review these charts. See what we got going on after the whole market's tanked on Friday. Actually, it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday morning. And we had a continuation on Friday morning. Well, we're still positive in those sales from Thursday and Friday. Nothing has changed since the opening on Sunday at 4 to 8 o'clock. Candle did. If we look here, like I said, this is just how you know, like, the market has muscle memory. This pandemic gap, daily gap, if we go to the daily, that's from this area. That's basically just showing like a structured low. And if I'm looking at it correctly, it's this right here. This little daily gap. We already tapped into it once previously, creating this gap way back in March 2020, which was a nice little buy entry after we created this COVID low. And if we zoom back, we 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. So that was March, I believe, March of 2020. Yeah, March 2020, all the way to April 2025. That's a whole roughly 5 years. And then the price comes all the way down to touching the top of this range. Like I said, I drew this out. I know that I should have notated when I could, but I knew I had this on well into the second quarter of 2024. Yeah, I know I had that around here. Shit, 2022 probably. If not, noticing this range, this wedge that was getting created out the daily, I saw these lows getting tested, so I knew it was reaching for something, which I noticed on the daily. We had that gap right here. So I said, ultimately, I know the market can come down here, which it did on Sunday, right? Yeah, the opening on Sunday. So we sold off, touched the top of this range, and bounced off of it. We got clean traffic to the left. I would love to see buys come in, but that's all depending on how much the dollar reacts to all this tariff commotion. So as you can see, on Tuesday, actually Wednesday, going into Thursday, Friday of last week, we sold off also on the dollar. Typically, the dollar is a negative correlation of the AU. So if we get a sell in the dollar, we usually buy up in AU. That really wasn't the case. The only thing I can see is that we did start to buy up on Thursday when sales were heavy on AU. But ultimately, all markets sold off around that time. Here we have the inverse. So the EU, the euro was bullish from that. The yen was. Australian dollar is pretty much following the dollar, which it does. It's positive correlation. But AU, that's where the negative correlation comes in. But yeah, the dollar and the EU. Look at the EU. Let's look at the stocks. Stocks sold off. Stocks sold off heavy. Damn. And we back under 5,000. The sharpest drop since 2020. That's crazy. We haven't seen a sell-off like this. I mean, this is kind of matching up to this, but as far as just this quickness, if we look at the charts in 2020 right here, we saw it off in February. That was when it really cranked up going into March. So that's telling. We're already at producing levels of that COVID type of pressure, especially in the S&P. We did just bounce out this peak, this last peak that was created from this most recent sell-off in January 2022. That's what we bounced off at 4,800 on the S&P. So just crazy to see that under 5,000 after all the increase. US 30 seeing a similar sell-off to COVID. So yeah, we not doing horrible, but these sell-offs are looking very similar to what we just came out of 5 years ago. Mass 100 doing the same thing. German 30 doing the same thing. Oil doing the same thing. Everything sold off on that Thursday. Trump had that talk. The gold sell off. Gold did sell off, but it's still above 3K. Actually dipped to a low of 29.7, and then now we sitting currently at 3,000, 3,005, $50.48 in that range. Gold is still looking good though. Let's see, Euro. Euro pushed bullish on Wednesday. Dollar sold Euro push higher. I mean, we are the most closest to 100 as far as the negative correlation, and AU would follow. But that's crazy. USD, Jappy, all the Jappy pairs sold off. AU sold off the most. Like AU, GBP, USD. One thing I like to note that I'm still going to point out, I've been talking about 72K top of this range. I think Bitcoin is trying to come into this range, at least touch 72. So I feel like we're gonna have some heavy buys rejecting this price. I don't know how deep we're gonna go into it. If we're gonna creep back into the 60s, which would be crazy. But hey, that's the markets. That is the markets. And that's how they roll. You got, such a one-sided type of event, especially with how BlackRock was just purchasing everything. BlackRock and State Street, Vanguard. What's the other guy's name? Is it Citadel? Citadel, somebody else. I forgot his name. So I think Michael Saylor. But nonetheless, it's a lot of buying at especially like in that range, 72 to 52. That whole range, that's when they was doing their most accumulating. So chances are they want to come back into that, buy more, have a larger position until that further influx comes into it, especially from whether we get retail buyers coming into the market or it being through ETFs and pension funds and all that type of shit. But there's a lot of avenues for money to get into the market, so we just need another bullish trend to get that eagerness going. So a lot of people will be interested in the buying, but I think people would like a extra surplus of cash, which could be a potential in the future, depending on if we start failing and maybe we get higher interest rates and inflation keeps on the rise. If it does, we could see a potential use of money being printed, like quantitative easing, and maybe a form of some stimulus into the economy. So get people spending more, especially with tariffs, depending on how that goes, unless that's just a tactic to sweep the market clean, wipe everybody out, get everybody out, get these prices back down to a sense of normalcy, and then more buying positions come in from the institutions and following retail. But if you look at history, just like I showed you before, especially in AU, we automatically follow that. But all these ranges usually return and get touched. They take time. Like this one was created. It started, I say, around the bullish push in February 2024. And we didn't break out of this range until November 2024. So that was a clean, smooth 10 months of a range and accumulation. Then from that point, as soon as we broke out, November 2024, it is now April 2025. So we only been just beginning of November, yeah, roughly. We only been about like 4 or 5 months into it, and we already starting to come back. So that's eager. From a build-up of 10 months to a breakout, and then it's 4 months, and we already starting to come back into that range. So they're not wasting another time to get people excited, pushing Bitcoin out to 100. That was fast, ranging slightly, then trailing back in, selling off, creating fears of new lows being broken, which they have been. And now we're coming back into that range that took 10 months to create, which was, like I said, 72 to 52K. We will, chances are, maybe we might see, since we're already 4 months in, 5 months in, we might see another 5 months of testing this price until we develop a bottom that we can buy into. So keep an eye on time frame. Like I said, all this market is fueled by greed. So They want to get to this price probably as fast as possible so they can get back above 110. 109, whatever the high was. 109. So pretty much what I see as far as the markets. Ethereum is back under 2K. XRP is up $2 slightly. Still been ranging since its last kind of bottom out around last year, 2024. So we've only been about a good 4 months in. Who knows? I'm not sure if the markets will get as fearful as we get an XRP priced in between 60 cents and $1. I could easily see a potential for this move to be happening at $1.60. But we do have, we got a lot of, that's why we kind of have to pass on right there. If you zoom out, you can definitely see a little bit more. If we break through this next range and possibly the next, if anything, I do see $1 up until like 90 cents. Maybe like a wick rejection right there. I would say it wouldn't be bad to have $1.10 to $1 buy interest on Ripple. If not, heavy buy interest in $1.50 to $1.60 range. As markets continue to sell off, everything is selling. Nvidia is at $94 from a high of $150 to $94. Crazy. Crazy work. 7% loss. Lyft is at 10. The earnings coming out. Lyft stock is double downgraded to underperform. Wow. Uber Technologies is maintained at overweight by Wells Fargo. Too many people own that. Overweight. TSM. Taiwan Semiconductor plans to invest an extra $100 billion in the U.S. as Taiwan president promotes zero tariffs and trade talks. See if that helps TSM. But right now, they're not liking it. The market is not liking it. 10% loss. Wow. Yeah, niggas is not happy outside right now. Tesla down. Damn. That's crazy. Let's take a quick look at the news right quick before we hop off here. Let's go to again. Check this. So we have nothing on Sunday. Monday, pretty much light. Euro news early in the morning. We have AU news at night, which is going to be at 7:30 and 8:30. Consumer confidence, business confidence on AU. Tuesday, no news. Wednesday, FOMC at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, but no news in the morning. Thursday, inflation rate, CPI, core inflation rate, and initial jobless claims coming all out at 7:30. So Thursday gonna be probably the most important day. Probably gonna save, have a light week on live. So I got a lot going on. Planning on moving out of here. Out of my apartment, got to get a storage and everything. So we might wait till Thursday to go live to catch that. Other than that, we might touch up on Tuesday just to see where we at early in the week. But Friday, PPI, Michigan Consumer Sentiment, that's all coming out at 7:30 and 9 o'clock. And that's pretty much it. We'll look at the imports. That might be good news. It's on Saturday, though. But Chinese yuan, they have an import and exports high news. Might be good to see where they at on that industry. But yeah, Thursday is going to be the move. So we might see a consolidation, a continuation of sales before Thursday hits, or we may see a bullish push for the rest of the week and then a continuation sell-off on Thursday. That's going to settle in for that first week of going into the second week of April. So yeah, with that being said, we'll touch bases on Tuesday to see where we at in the markets. And as always, keep in touch on the chat. But we are still stemming from 2 previous weeks in February and March, bearish engulfings on the weekly, followed by the bearish sale we had previous week, which led into a Friday Friday bearish engulfing on the daily. So we're going to see how this week is going to play off of that. Are we going to buy back into that clean traffic on the 4 hour? Or are we just going to push as high as maybe this point here, 620, 6110, in that range, right up in here. So we'll see how the market reacts to that price. I don't know what this green line is. I don't know what's significant. Let's see. Oh, maybe that's the low, 2022 low. I'm not sure, but something like that. I might take that out because that's really not helping. Let's see. Take that out. So let me set the weekly range from the previous, because it is crazy. And then we're going to wrap it up. So we had a previous weekly high up here. Which is right around 63.88. Then we had a previous weekly low, which is down here. That price is sitting at 59.86. And if I pull out my fibs, we'll have a mid-range of of 61.86, 88. So it's a lot of 80. 63.80, 59.80, and we're in the middle of 61. So it's right there, smack dab. Oh, bam. That's our range. Possibly that's what we can pull up to. Move this over. Previous weekly high, previous weekly low. So it's possible maybe we can push up to here, 61.80, and then sell off. And we do have a 4-hour gap there, so that'll be sweet. And we do have one higher too, so keep an eye out on that. But other than that, yeah. Good. So yeah, we'll check back in and see what we